Hello, people of the world, and welcome back on the Mary in Motion podcast. Today I'm joined with Sarah.
Hi everyone.
She's my oldest friend, actually.
Yay.
We met in high school, and we are currently in a tent in the middle of a field with some cows around. So if you hear some noises, just know that it's okay, it's normal, and we will explain later why we are in this situation. Also, if our voices are a bit different, it's relaxed.
Yeah, all good.
So I want to talk a bit about our friendship. So we met in high school, in the first year of high school.
Yeah.
So it was in 2015. It's been 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, 9 years.
Oh my god.
I remember it was the starting of Ryanair, and we discovered that from a small program in high school called DISPO in France. And we had some students from Toulouse coming every month. We were talking about trips, and with Mary we were really interested in trips.
We just wanted to go somewhere, and then we just looked at the flights. I see us on the Google flight webpage,
Yeah.
and being like, where should we go? And we didn't have any money, so we wanted to go to the cheapest place from Toulouse, and so it was London.
And it was 15 euros, right?
Yes, I think so.
Each
way or each person?
Each person. Yeah, and then we start asking, what shall we do? And we discover, walk away.
All of this happened when we were in the last year of high school.
Yeah, you're right. Because I was 18 and you were...
Yeah, I was 16. So we needed to wait for Sarah to be 18 so we could go. And we didn't tell our parents or anyone that we wanted to do this. We were just, let's
go.
Spend a bit of our money and go somewhere. And we really were craving adventure.
So we start looking for a walkaway.
Can you explain what's Workaway?
Walkaway is a platform to connect owners of places in any part of the world. And you can just go there, walk for this owner of the anything. It can be a farm, it could be
just a house, just a place.
Yeah, just a place. You can work more or less 4 or 5 hours per day for this person, and then you spend your time there. You can do whatever you want during the afternoon. You are not paid, but they are supposed, you're gonna see, they are supposed to give you food
and host you. Because we had no money, we just looked into this, and we found a place in London. It was a guy named Andrew, and we saw, oh wow, London, and we would be hosted, and it was written that he would also provide the food. So we were like, okay, a trip to London for 15 euros. And I remember that we did a little budget, what kind of money we needed to take. And we calculated that we would only need 70 euros for the whole trip, which was 1 week.
Days. Yeah, 1 week maybe.
Yeah, a bit more than a week.
Yeah, 70.
Because we thought that we didn't have to pay for any food. We just assumed that we would buy a little souvenir or go to a restaurant, and then we're like, okay, 70 euros, that's it. And we had no money, only what our parents would give us, so it was really the limit.
Yeah, and you were 16.
Yeah, and I was 16.
But you cannot feel the difference, but on the paper there is a difference.
Mm-hmm. So we had to make a little attestation, like a little form my parents had to fill to say that they would give my responsibility to Sarah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
First, we had to tell my parents that we were doing this. At first, I just told my parents, yeah, I booked tickets to London and I'm going to do this workaway thing. They were like, no, you're not going to do this. I was like, it's already booked. Like, you cannot do anything. I'm going.
Thank God my mom was okay. And she said, okay, I will bring you to the airport and everything.
Yeah, but I really thought until the last minute that they wouldn't let me go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think your mom convinced them. I remember we were, both of my parents, us two and your mom, we were chatting in my garden,
Yeah.
and they were a bit arguing if I should go or not.
Mhm.
It was really like 3 hours before the plane. But then at the end they said yes. I don't know why, but good for me.
Yeah. We just took the plane, and when we arrived, we realized that we were not in London. The workaway was not in London.
I mean,
at all.
first, the airport was so far away. We had to pay
Yeah.
for the bus. It was like 20 euros maybe.
Yeah, because it was the Ryanair airport.
So
I don't remember which. Yeah.
I don't know. So we arrived there, and then we're like, oh no, we have to take a bus for like 1.5 hours maybe.
Yeah, and it was pretty expensive for a budget.
Yeah.
Everything was expensive for a budget.
Yeah. Then we arrived in London, and we were like, oh, let's look at the address of the guy. And it's not in London. It's
It
like,
was Chesham.
yeah, it's at the end of the metro line. So we had to pay 20 more euros for the
Yeah.
metro ticket, because it's like per distance that you do, and we were really at the end of the line, so we paid like 40 euros on the first day.
Yeah.
We tried to not pay the metro, but there was always someone watching.
Yeah.
We couldn't.
We arrived at the metro station, and I fall in love. The village was so cute. You remember the metro station?
Yeah, the metro
It was
station
full of
cute.
flowers, so cute. It was the beginning of summer, and it was pretty nice.
There was a big park and little houses, what you would imagine of a little England town. And the house was at top of a hill. The hill was super steep. We were so tired when we arrived at the
Yeah.
guy's. And then the guy was very old, and he had 2 houses. One where he was living, and one that was empty. We had to
Yeah,
move
to
the
move.
furniture and everything. So we were staying in the empty house that was like really 10 meters away from his. And so we were staying there, so we had no food because he was cooking for himself in his house,
Yeah.
and we had just nothing for us in this
Yeah,
house.
and the house was so dirty at the beginning. It was a mess, a complete mess. And there were 2 Russian people, a couple.
Living there for months already.
Yeah. They were pretty nice but cold, and
We
our English was
yeah, we didn't
terrible.
speak so good English.
At the beginning we had 2 bedrooms, but we decided to move together
Yeah.
because I was kind of scared, and we were so young, and we realized that
The electric outlets were
Yes.
different.
this was the first adventure, you know.
Yeah, we had no clue of anything.
Anything.
We just showed up there because the ticket was 15 euros. And then we arrived in this guy's place. It was dirty. We couldn't charge our phones. I don't know. Everything was a mess.
It was terrible. But in French we say le voyage forme la jeunesse.
Meaning traveling teaches young people. I don't know. This guy wanted us to clean. No, not clean. We just had to move the furniture, no? And he didn't care
Yeah.
about the...
No, we had to clean too.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
We cleaned the bathroom. And we
You
also
cleaned the bathroom.
I cleaned the bathroom. And you cleaned the kitchen.
We had the kitchen.
Oh my god.
The freezer. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know what was this house, but it was so dirty.
Yeah, and we had to walk the dog
Every day.
every morning at 6.
Yeah, and every evening too. I think you were doing it and I was
I
sleeping.
was doing that because it was my favorite part. I was going at 6 at
Mhm.
his house. Then I took the dog, I walked the dog. That was the best part. But you have to imagine that at this point, we had no money to come back to London.
Yeah, because it was 20 euros.
Yeah, and we are only 30. We had not enough money to go back to the airport
Yes, already.
already. And it
And-
was Monday.
And we had to buy food and everything. We had nothing planned. And also we were so young, we never lived together. All of the cleaning we did in this house, I've never done that in my own house. Or even doing the groceries or cooking for myself. It was very new. I don't know.
So we start to eat basic meals, like 1 egg.
Yeah, I remember one day we just ate an egg But for two, like
Yeah, one
we
egg for two.
yeah we ate half an egg and some kind of bread that we had, and that
Yeah.
was our meal.
And the Russian people give us something.
Yeah, there was.
One day, some chicken or something. It was
Yeah.
so. I was so hungry.
We were like, oh wow, some food. And one day they also asked that we do some kind of French meal for everyone, for the Russians, for us, and for the guy. And we were like, with what food and what money you were supposed to feed us, and now you want us to cook for you? I think they did some groceries for us, or
They bought everything for our French meal.
I don't even remember what we cooked. I remember some lentils,
Yeah, maybe.
but it's not a French meal.
No. I remember we put some potatoes on water. Something.
Yes.
I think it was like a bulga.
And yeah, we ate all together in this house, and they were shocked that we were eating first the starters, then the main,
Yeah, then the
and
dessert.
then the dessert.
No, then the cheese, then the dessert.
Mhm. They were shocked because
remember
I
that.
think in Russia they would just put everything on the table and you would just eat whatever
Sure,
you
yeah.
wanted.
And then we decided that we couldn't more stay there without money, working all day, because we were working. We were
Yeah.
moving all the wood from the garage to another garage.
And we had no time to visit.
Mm,
We came here
yeah.
for vacation and we were just working for this guy.
We were supposed to work only 4 hours and we worked like 8
Hmm.
without extra money.
And without the food.
Yeah.
So we were exploited.
So one day we decided to ask some pounds for extra work because we were so shy. So I asked, I think it was me.
Yeah, I think it was
asked-
you.
Do you think you could give us some pounds to go to London and go back? And he said, yeah. Maybe I'm gonna see. He was nice, but he was old and cold. He was a
Yeah.
cold guy. The next day I asked, he gave us like 30 pounds,
Yeah,
for two?
Yeah, for two.
something like that.
So it was not very good, but at least
We managed to go to.
we went to Oxford.
We went to Oxford.
Because the bus was
yeah.
going through our village and we didn't have to go back
Yeah,
to
you're
London.
right. And then we found some promotional things to eat in McDonald's.
Ah, yes.
Some points or I don't know what.
Yeah, it was some kind of bonus points
Yeah,
That you-
exactly.
get, or I don't know what it was.
And I think we managed to buy a French fries.
It's so crazy to think about this now
Yeah.
because it would never happen. But I think my dad sent me a bit of money when I told
I think
him.
too, my mom.
Yeah. But hopefully otherwise we would just have not eaten for
Yeah.
a week.
But did we have a bank card?
I think I had a bank account because I had from 16 on I had like a young bank stuff.
Yeah.
So I had a bank account.
I think I had something too. The first MasterCard, you cannot do anything without your parents and stuff like that.
My dad wanted that we still enjoy a bit. So he sent us some money so we could visit.
I think it was 50.
Yeah, I think he sent me 50 euros. And we were like, oh wow, it's double the
Yeah.
budget. Woohoo!
Yeah. And we didn't need money to enjoy Oxford. We went to the university, we took pictures.
Yeah, we didn't buy anything. We just took the bus and then we enjoyed
and
there.
French fries from McDonald's.
Yeah.
And then we came back, and then we worked again. One day we were supposed to fix something, to build some shelves in the field, but his field was like,
Super steepy.
yeah, so steepy, and we were in sort of tent, and we were just.
We were becoming crazy.
It was raining so much. We were in a tent. Everything was like
Not
falling.
straight. Yeah.
Nothing worked, and it was a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, we just started singing like crazy people and
Crying.
And he had little pieces of wood that were all piled up in his garden and super clean, and I was supposed to put some more on top, and I don't know what I did, but I just made everything fall, and his whole pile of wood just on the
Fall down
ground.
until the house.
Yeah, it was so big. It was like dominoes, everything fell, and then I was like, oh, like
We were so
big
tired.
mistake. But then I think it's the Russian guy that did it all again. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. He couldn't force us. But I think one day we told him, the day we went to Oxford, we said that we worked enough the days before, so we didn't want to work that day.
And then we went to London.
Finally.
The final day.
I think, yeah, it was the last day.
I think so. It was the last day.
Yeah, I remember we went
We
to
did.
Camden Market. That was cool.
Yeah. We went to walk to Buckingham Palace.
Mm-hmm.
And your stomach. You couldn't walk?
Yeah, I don't know why I was super sick. My stomach was hurting so much. But I don't know, it was just pain. And just needed to be curled into a ball and just wait.
On the bench.
So I just sat on a bench. And then I remember I was just laying on the grass in the park and staying there.
So yeah, we spent 4 hours in London and we were super happy.
I mean, I was sick. I don't know why. Maybe it was the stress. Because it was not the food. We didn't eat anything.
No.
Or maybe it was the lack of food.
Then we came back to France. First adventure together. And we survived with 120 euros in London. That was something.
It was not the best trip of my life, I would say.
For sure.
But it was the first one, and it was very formative. It taught us a lot. What do you think it taught you the most? Like one mistake we did that you never did again. I think for me it's really reading and being sure of the agreement. I mean, if the guy would have fed us, contract. It was written that he would feed us. But
yeah, but you know what? We never say that. Yeah. We never said, oh, sorry, you're supposed to feed us.
Yeah.
Never.
Because we were so shy and so young, and we were a bit unsure about what we were supposed to do.
And say.
And this old guy was there. He told us, just go in this house. And we're like,
eat.
Okay.
Okay.
He was a bit old also, and maybe he didn't do it on purpose to click on the food will be provided.
Maybe.
I don't know how he ended up in this website.
But he was 5 stars.
But did we give him 5 stars? I hope not. But I think maybe we did. It's really showing the mindset we had at that age. We really wanted to travel, no matter how, in which conditions.
And where.
We were just like, we want to go somewhere.
We're still like that.
I think now we are a bit more picky. I wouldn't go in a shitty place near London to walk a dog every day. It would need to have some more added value than just this.
But still a good adventure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love that we did this.
Mm-hmm.
It was unreal, the situation in which we were. But I liked it, I think.
Me too.
That was our adventure in London. So you can see our friendship a bit, how it is and how it has been since. We will do a little series with Sarah, so remember her voice. She will tell you all of her stories. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And see you in the next episode.